Hello everyone. This is my final project and this is just the project overview. Still working on finishing it up. In this project I explain in the project overview I explain who the learners are. It's my first grade class. It's a pretty good mix of boys and girls. We got 2-to-1 ratio. We're in a very diverse room with poverty at close to 3/4 of my class receiving free or reduced lunch services. The learning environment is the computer lab and my classroom. Each student will have their own tablet to work with for this and to help create graphic organizers and to listen to books while they are read to them for those students who can't read. My unit objectives, the students will be able to identify the parts of a story, including the setting, characters, beginning, middle, and end, which means problem and solution as well. The students will create a story with all the parts of a story, so they will have a beginning, a middle, and end, the problem, the solutions, settings, and characters. The standards are going to be addressed at the beginning of each lesson, so it's a pretty easy site to navigate. All of my stuff is in April. Like lesson 1, we start with just having the parts of a story, and the students review what the parts of a story are, the characters, the setting, the problem, and solution. The books they're going to be reading are going to be like Three Little Pigs, different variations of that, and Little Red Riding Hood, different variations of Little Red Riding Hood, and also different variations of Jack and the Beanstalk, because there are a lot of different ways to tell that story. And then the students are going to, in lesson 2, take what they've learned in lesson 1, and they're going to start making their own lessons, or their own books. But they're going to take a fairy tale or a fable, just like Jack and the Beanstalk, or just like the Three Little Pigs or Little Red Riding Hood, and they're going to make it their own. One that a student is currently doing in my class is with Pokemon. He is making Little Red Riding Hood with Pokemon, and it's Little Red Pikachu, I think is what it's called. So it's kind of cool, and instead of the big bad wolf, it's the big bad Meowth, because I guess that's their Team Rocket Pokemon. So that's kind of one cool thing they're doing, and they're just creating an outline for their story. So they're taking the same graphic organizer they used in the first day and making the second day, and just so they have a graphic organizer of what's going to happen, and they can start to get that laid out. And then from then on, in lesson 3, they start actually finishing up their graphic organizer, make sure they got the problem, the solution, a beginning, a middle, and an end, kind of like a picture storyboard is where we're going with it in lesson 4, where they get to draw pictures for each page that's going to happen, and they're going to be able to look back at the book and see if they want to take something of what the artist has already used and just change it a little bit. If they want to go completely different, they can. And so that's what they're going to do. And then lesson 5 is where they're going to start adding words to it. In lesson 6, that's where they start editing. That's where they're going to start peer editing and making sure we get capital letters, punctuation. I'm going to go in and help with the grammar, make sure that it sounds correct. And then the final lesson, lesson 7, is where they get to publish it. They go back and they publish it, and we're going to use Scribble My Story, or we're going to use, if they want, they can use Paint, just a variety of different medias. Some students have chosen that they've already decided they don't want to do anything on the computer. They just want to make it with watercolors. They want to paint. Some students says they really like to color, so they're going to use crayons or colored pencils or even markers to make their story. And it's going to be really cool because we're going to have them then create a YouTube video where each one of them is going to be reading their story, and their pictures will be up, so then they get to see themselves doing a read aloud, and they can send it to their parents or family and friends that live quite a long ways away. And we're also going to share. I got a nice co-op going with a teacher in Australia who's going to switch with me, and her students are going to hear my students' stories, and my students are going to hear her students' stories. So it's going to be really kind of cool. They'll get to give some feedback back and forth through emails, and It's going to be really fun. Kids are really enjoying it so far.